Trump wants you to believe that this whole thing is just about corruption, fighting corruption, and he is trying to phrase it that way. This morning, Donald Trump tweeted, "As president, I have an obligation to end corruption, even if that means requesting the help of a foreign country or countries. It's done all the time. This has nothing to do with politics or a political campaign against the Bidens. This does have to do with their corruption." So it's not about Biden, it's about corruption. Biden's just one instance of it, man. He can give you so many, which is why this morning during Chopper Talk, he was asked if he's ever asked for a corruption investigation of someone who is not his political opponent, and he said, you know, we would have to look. It would be one thing if on the phone call you can't come up with a single instance of corruption that does not involve one of your highest profile political opponents. But if you, 2 weeks into an impeachment inquiry, still haven't come up with one example of corruption that does not involve your political opponents, that should be, I mean, look, it's obvious for us what's going on, but more and more, I would have to imagine that the Trump supporters in the Republican Party and the media have got to be getting frustrated with his inability to give them just a little bit of ammunition to defend him with.
I listened to Fox News this morning, and it isn't stopping them.
It isn't stopping them?
It is exactly the echo chamber that you think it is. Like last night at the end of Hannity, all it was talking about Hillary Clinton. Literally, they did a whole segment about Hillary Clinton in 2016 and Hillary's appearance on Maddow. And these people who say that we don't want to relitigate the 2016 election, get out there and talk about Hillary Clinton. And one of the amazing moments was when Mike Huckabee says, you know why I lost, and she needs to admit this. The reason why I lost my elections is more people voted for the other guy. And it's like, well, more people voted for her than voted for him, so that doesn't even hold. But with this, it's extremely frustrating because the legal argument that they have is we're investigating corruption. That's what they're trying to say. They can't come up with anyone besides Biden to talk about.
Whether the example is Ukraine or China.
But even if you want to investigate Biden's corruption, there's a law saying that Trump can't ask for that. There are other ways to do that besides this.
By the way, the DOJ could investigate it.
The Department of Justice can absolutely do that on itself. But this way of doing it itself, even if that's your legal framework, which I would say is a baddie legal framework, that doesn't hold up. You need to go through another way. And then the other argument they're making is essentially, and you hear this when they're interviewed, they're saying like, oh wait, I guess Biden is his political opponent. They need to convince the American people that it's merely a coincidence that Biden is the chief political rival in terms of polling data and just the general framing of the election. And that's an insane thing to want people to believe.
Yeah, if you're a defender of the president, it is on you to pretend that you're stupider than he is. You have to make these arguments, and that is a fairly low bar. Now, also we have text messages, incredibly damning text messages. We can't go through all of them. They are available. There's a lot. We're gonna go through a few that stand out to me. These are generally between Secretary of State, or sorry, I should say Department of State diplomat Bill Taylor and Ambassador Gordon Sondland, ambassador to Ukraine. So here we have Taylor saying, "Are we now saying that security assistance and White House meetings are conditioned on investigations?" To which Sondland answers, "Call me." So if the answer is no, it's shorter than call me. You could just say it. But the thing about a phone call versus a text message is one leaves a paper trail, the other does not, presumably.
Yeah, he might as well have said, you got Snapchat?
Yeah, exactly.
You got Snapchat.
Can you tick or talk me? 8 days later, Taylor wrote, "As I said on the phone, I think it's crazy to withhold security assistance for help with a political campaign." Sondland responded by denying that this was the case and urging him not to text about the matter anymore. So again, Sondland's like, he might throw up some resistance to the narrative, but his main point is stop texting me about this, stop putting this down in a way that can be tracked, and in fact, it ends up being tracked. Taylor expresses concerns, saying he heard that, quote, "President Zelensky is sensitive about Ukraine being taken seriously, not merely as an instrument in Washington domestic re-election politics." So again, as these diplomats are being pushed to put pressure on the Ukrainian president, they get what is being done here, and apparently the Ukrainian government does as well. Sondland responds to that, saying it's important to, quote, "get the conversation started and the relationship built, irrespective of the pretext. I am worried about the alternative." I don't even know what that means, the alternative part. A couple more really fast. So in terms of quid pro quo, it was obvious from the first summary transcript. People are pretending that it's not, but just in case that wasn't enough, we do have more. So in an interaction, we can bring this up. Volker, another individual in these texts, says, good luck, thanks. Heard from White House, assuming President Z convinces Trump he will investigate, quote, get to the bottom of what happened in 2016, we will nail down date for visit to Washington. Good luck, see you tomorrow. So he will get a visit to the White House if he nails down that he will do this. Again, this isn't just, I need you to do me a favor though, where you can sort of grammatically link the two. This is an explicit recognition that a trip to the White House to meet Trump is contingent on investigating Joe Biden and what happened in 2016, the right-wing conspiracy theories about a server. And then in terms of the trying to get rid of the paper trail, acknowledging how bad this looks, one more interaction about a 4.5-hour gap after some of the earlier texts that we talked about. Sondland writes, Bill, I believe you are incorrect about President Trump's intentions. The president has been crystal clear, no quid pro quos of any kind. The president is trying to evaluate whether Ukraine is truly going to adopt the transparency and the reforms that President Zelensky promised during his campaign. I suggest we stop going back and forth by text. If you still have concerns, I recommend you give Lisa Kenna or S, that's Pompeo, a call to discuss them directly. So after a period in which either just time passed or maybe Sondland talked to some people, figured out I need to get on the record saying there's no quid pro quo, and then we have to stop texting about this.
This is, and we have to keep in mind like the entire framework. First of all, the thing, the transcript, the memo of the call, that is a crime. That is breaking campaign finance law, soliciting a thing of value from a foreign actor. That is one big crime. That is a main crime that we have confirmed happening.
Yeah, and they confirmed it.
He confirmed it, he admitted to it, that's not okay. And the question is why? And this revolves around essentially what Lindsey Graham was saying back in the 90s. He's like, I have to impeach a president and remove them from office if they're doing things that are reflective of the kind of person who should not be president of the United States. And that also relates to what a perfect phone call would be. He's like, I had a perfect phone call with the Ukraine president. A perfect phone call with the Ukraine president is something like this. Listen, Congress gave me the okay to change the way we support you militarily if and only if you do things that benefit the American people. That's a perfect call. And then Zelensky says, yes, we'll do that. Here's, by the way, when I come to Washington, D.C., I'll stay at the Radisson. And Trump's like, great, because otherwise that's an emoluments violation. That's a perfect call.
That sounds good.
But what happened was, instead of agreeing to all this stuff so that it can benefit, that would benefit the American people, and asking for things that would benefit the American people, Trump asks for things that benefit himself. And the thing he holds hostage is his supporters' tax dollars. He's saying, I'm not gonna give you aid, but I will give you aid, which is Trump supporter tax dollars, if you investigate my political opponent. That is corruption. That's the definition of corruption, is someone using their position of power, not to benefit the people who gave him that power, that's the voters, but rather to benefit himself. And he keeps doing it over and over again. We have proof of that. That is the main crime. This is the other thing. Their main defense for like a week and a half was there's no quid pro quo. This is proof of the quid pro quo.
Over and over and over.
Everyone who's saying it's not also sounds like the husband who's cheating on his wife, who tells his mistress to stop texting him.
Exactly, yeah. If they're still denying it, it's because they don't care whether the president committed crimes.
Yeah.
It's just as simple as that. Thank you for watching this clip from the Damage Report. For more content from the show and access to TYT Network members-only exclusives, go to tyt.com/Brooke. Wait, no, it's tyt.com/John. Go to tyt.com/John to sign up.